Mason. Um, it says here Crystal Mason's contentious illegal voting conviction must be reconsidered. A criminal appeal court says. It says the Texas Court of Appeals has told a lower appeals court to take another look at a controversial illegal voting conviction of Crystal Mason, who was given a 5-year prison sentence for casting a provisional ballot in the 2016 uh, while casting a provisional ballot in the 2016 election while she was on supervised release from federal conviction for a federal conviction. The state's court of the state's court of last resort for criminal matters on Wednesday ruled a lower appeals court had wrongly upheld Mason's conviction by concluding that it was irrelevant that Mason's prosecution that she did not know that she was ineligible to cast a ballot. The ruling opens the door for Mason's conviction to be ultimately overturned. Mason's lawyers turned to the Texas Court of Appeals, or I'm sorry, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals after a Tarrant County based Second Court of Appeals found that her knowledge that she was on supervised release and therefore ineligible to vote was sufficient for an illegal voting conviction. Mason has said that she did not know that she was ineligible to vote and wouldn't have knowingly risked her freedom. On Wednesday, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals ruled that the lower court had erred by failing to require proof that Mason had actual knowledge that it was a crime for her to vote while on supervised release. They sent it back down with instructions for a lower court to evaluate the sufficiency of evidence against Mason. She says, I am pleased with the court, or I don't know who said this, but it says, I am pleased with the court's acknowledged issues of my conviction to defend myself against these cruel charges. Mason said in a statement released Wednesday, my life has been upended for what was the worst innocent misunderstanding of casting a provisional ballot that was ever counted. I've been called to fight this voting rights. I've been called to this fight for voting rights and will continue to serve my community. Mason's case dates back to 2016 when she was discovered, or after it was discovered that she was not on the voter roll. Mason submitted a provisional ballot in that year's presidential election on advice of a poll worker. Her ballot was rejected because she was not eligible to participate in the elections while still on supervised release from for a federal tax fraud conviction. She was arrested a few months later. Mason's prosecution hinged on the affidavit that she signed before casting the provisional ballot that required an individual to swear that if a felon, I have completed all of my punishment, including any terms of incarceration, parole, or supervised. Oh, this lady gone. This lady is gone. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Shit, I mean, the time is up. Mason says she did not read the entire affidavit. Oh, this is rich. In Wednesday's ruling, the court held that the Texas Election Code requires individuals to know that they are ineligible to vote to be convicted of illegal voting. Oh, please. She knew. She knew. Well, this particular case, people will say that it's racist, it's this, it's that. It's a rule. It is a rule. If she would have read the documentation, she would have known also. She would have read it and said, okay, I'm not eligible. I'm still on supervised release. Let me go on about my business. But she did not. She did not read it. And most people know that if you're convicted of a crime, you're not eligible to vote. That's it. This, to me, this is an open and shut case. I don't even. So, because it's in Texas, because she's black, this is going to be called racist. Y'all saw the part where it said she did not read it. It was presented to her, but she did not read it. So, what do? We convict her. You know, this, unless there's some pressure, which I don't see Texas caving to pressure, but let's just say hypothetically that there's some pressure and that what's his face? Oh my goodness. Let's just say that there's some pressure. Sheila, oh my gosh, I can't remember this woman's name. But let's just say there's some pressure and this actually gets overturned, and you know, it's because of the pressure. Because it says she did not read it. She did not read it. It was presented to her. She did not read it. That's it. It's not the state's fault. It's not anyone's fault but hers. You don't read it. You just like we click the terms and conditions, and I clicked on this YouTube and I just said yes. I read terms and conditions, but okay, let's just say you don't read it. You click on it, you say yes, but you go ahead and you break one of the rules, but then you say, well, I didn't know. How do you say you don't know? Well, how don't you know? It was right here in writing. Well, I didn't read it. Whose fault is that? Whose fault? I'm sorry. It's a lot of racist stuff, but this is not one of them. Now, her prison term should be up by now. You know? I'm not sure, but her prison term should be up. So, this is crazy. In the midst of all of the January 6th and the insurrection, you know, it's just a bunch of mess. And so, at first sight, you say, okay, well, this is, you know, this is shady, you know. But no, the woman did not read what was on the paper. She didn't read it. So anyway, you tell me what you think in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for listening.